exemption Northwest Energy for it. I don't have any qualms with what they've proposed, but I think they need a water truck in case something happens. The only thing, if they had something started from the welding, they had a fire extinguisher there. That understand that. But if anything else evolved out of that, I think they should have some kind of...
I'm not... Just like when I asked Jim Ward about the Title III guy, the contractors doing the Title III work.
Okay.
Wanting an exemption, and I asked Jim Ward. I says, I want your honest opinion.
Okay.
He says takes one spark. It's 99% chance that it's going to start a fire.
Mm-hmm.
He says not only is the landowner going to be responsible, the contractor will be responsible, and the county will be responsible because we signed the exemption. So that's why I am a little leery of signing it, because I do not want to be
liable here. Yeah.
Liable.
Well, that was when we approved Flat Creek. That was one of the things we had. A water tender would be available. And that's the only thing that I saw that...
And they're working in the dirt where they're not really
but
working
these
in
will
the
be
dirt.
in and out of different places here. The one smoking outside of the enclosed vehicle, they couldn't do that. And I would have no qualms if they had an area cleared off like we had the other, but I didn't say anything about that. But I think they need a water wagon of some kind there in case something happens. You don't have time to call up and get it.
No.
You might get the helicopter with a water bucket, but then it's...
Did Sanders give an exemption?
Yes.
Yeah, but are they on stage 2 restrictions?
I don't know. I thought they were.
See, we went early. We were in extreme before they ever moved.
Yeah, see, I don't know if Sanders County is in stage 2 or not.
I can't answer that. I can find out, but I don't... Okay, so that was...
Anyway, that's my view.
Okay, it was supposed to come before you folks today, and so that was the only thing that I had was... I have no... If they have
Pole replacement, cable replacement, pole installation, and cable installation. Where are they doing this at?
Up the west end.
All the way along.
Oh, that's that stuff that they're doing in Dominion Creek.
And I recognize Dominion Creek's down in the bottom, and it's kind of damp and dew, but up here today, they figure around 4% for humidity, and...
Well, doesn't it say, though, that on red flag days they wouldn't be able to work?
No, it doesn't...
It says that somewhere here.
Sanders is on.
We didn't talk about red flag when we were talking with Flat Creek.
Exemption not valid on days during wind events that would be considered red flag warning.
Okay, there, that's on this one, yes.
The only thing that up there, I mean, it's dry everywhere,
but that's only part of where it covers. It covers the whole county when they're working on it, and I guess that was the only thing that, in some places, yes, you get along without that, but then I can come back with my reason of, well, we did it there and we didn't do it here, and so...
Yeah, and that's kind of you hate to start, like Lori was saying, somebody was asking for exemptions on these fuel mitigation jobs. You know?
Yes.
We give one to them, then...
Yep, nope. I don't know.
Yeah, that's...
The only thing that I find troubling with that is, are they going to be able to get done with that before snow flies again? Because didn't they?
Yeah, I don't know.
But that's kind of their problem, not ours.
Yeah. I mean, it's not our fault that it's so dry and we've got fires and...
We didn't ask for the fire.
That's my concern, is if we give an exemption, it's going to put us as a liability. I mean, if a major fire was to start, that we would be one of the players
with this.
With that.
Yeah, okay.
But
what do you think, Roman?
About giving them
you
exemption?
guys do whatever. That's my opinion.
They don't have a water tender. If they had a big water truck there, would it be?
Oh, they don't have a water
No,
tender?
they don't.
Really?
It's not. And see, that's what I think they need. They got the fire extinguisher if they're doing something, but it only takes, like we said, the rock start thing, and they're digging in rocks and things, but anyway, I just think they need more than
a
what
fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, because you know, if you get a
thought
backhoe and
they
you're
had-
digging, hit rocks, I mean, there's
thought they
sparks
had
all
to
the
have-
time.
I thought they had to have water or a pumper if you were doing any work like that.
It's not a requirement here,
Huh.
see, and so
Would
that,
be if we were logging.
I can't argue that, can't argue that at all. That was what was approved in Sanders County. And so that was what, I guess I thought they needed that if they were gonna do it here, that was all.
That's what Sanders County told them to, was have a water pumper there?
No, they
didn't. Huh.
all they had was here,
Huh.
yeah.
I wouldn't go for that.
Yeah, I think if they had a water tender truck or some kind of thing, it might be okay. Like
Well, I
we
think
did-
they should have that, it's just,
Yeah.
Like we did the other fella. What's his name? The GEQ one.
oh,
So did we give them an exemption? Oh,
yeah, we had that on that one there, see.
okay.
But they were, yeah, they're right down in the dirt, yeah.
They're in the dirt, yeah, where the,
But we
Well,
still had it,
they're
we
gonna
still
be in
had
the
it.
dirt
Right.
too, though. I mean,
Yeah.
they're putting poles
Water
in.
tend to be available to all activities that's done, yeah.
They're putting poles in, burying cable. I mean,
yeah, so if they had a water tender, because then, I don't know if they're gonna, if their catalytic converter or if their digger hits a rock, I guess,
Something happens there, yes.
yeah, they don't have a catalytic converter on them.
on the trucks that drive back in there.
Yeah, I don't know about the trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're probably gonna have a truck that grabs the pole and does this thing with it, you know?
Well,
I'd have to think, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, but they should have some form of water there.
yeah.
Okay, other than that, I wouldn't have any qualms with that.
My only concern is whether or not they'll be able to finish that if we don't
Right,
give them
well, yeah.
That's a good question, Rick, and I recognize it's coming, but someplace along the line with the way the situation is this year, I just gotta think that outweighs that.
Oh, yeah, they most definitely, but if they had water, if they had a water truck there.
That's good,
yeah,
then they can go ahead and, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, if they put a pumper up there.
yeah.
I mean, it don't even necessarily have to be a trunk,
Oh,
just a
yeah,
pumper on a trailer,
yes, just like we do with the
just
rest
like,
of it,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Water available in case something
Yep.
happens.
So, Casey, one of the things on there here is Sheriff's Office Vehicle Maintenance and Repair Contract. So, do we need to discuss something, or is anybody from the SO down here to, before or against anything, or we just,
For the contract.
So did they turn in a claim or anything on that car they wrecked?
No, but they just told me about it.
do they want to have Mako
Does
fix
something
it?
like
Well, I
that?
don't know if they were calling or,
Does something like that, is that supposed to be investigated?
Yeah, any motor vehicle wreck with
Oh,
damage.
$500.
Yeah, yeah. Did anybody come look at it?
That's what we need to find out, is if it was investigated.
Hell no,
Yeah.
it wasn't. Couldn't get-
Do you know, like, did it happen like in the middle of the night, nobody else was out, so they just towed it, or did it happen in the middle of the day, or,
I don't know.
yeah?
That's what we need. You need to pursue them and.
Did we get any names or anything of someone for me to follow up with, or possible witnesses? Or?
Kelly just said that's what was being talked about at camp, but
Oh,
that was the
So
consensus
this-
is if he can lie about that,
Yeah.
he should get fired.
well, cops have a difficulty if they're caught lying because of that Brady law that you can't testify anymore.
So anyway,
So, did the Forest Service do an investigation? If I went and asked, they might.
but shouldn't it have been called in and
Yeah,
with the
that-
highway patrol?
Should have,
have
yeah.
been
Yeah, yeah.
investigated it?
Yeah, if it happened on roads open to the state and the public, they're supposed to call it
So
in.
that's what I was wondering, if maybe you could pursue to
Oh, I see. Follow up on-
follow up to see, even ask Tom, was that what happened? Was it investigated? What was the outcome? What? Because all it did was, looks to me like it's very fixable. All it did was break a mirror and a headlight, it looks like to me.
But they were gonna total it?
Well, they've got all the stuff taken out of it.
Oh, really? Huh?
All it was a headlight and a what?
The mirror.
Oh, I thought
It's
the
sitting
front-
right over here by the thing. Go look at it. Couple
Oh.
scratches on the side. Some grass hanging off the bumper.
I wonder if that's what's gonna be.
But the radio and
They-
stuff's been taken out?
Looks like it.
They didn't think there was enough damage to call it in, probably gonna be the story then, if it's,
Well, we got a
It still
storage shed out there by the
shouldn't have
airport.
been
well,
investigated.
if it meets the threshold of enough damage, but I don't know. I'm just saying they're probably gonna say, oh, just a couple scratches in the mirror, we didn't think that it needed to be called in because it wasn't a big deal. I'm just anticipating their response.
You think they'd really say something like that? We didn't know.
Yeah.
That's what they'll say. Well, we didn't know that was a
Tell me
law.
that story again, would you?
Yeah, we didn't know that was a law. When did they do that? When did they start doing that?
Well, you won't need me anything more for this thing, would you? No. I'd sign off on it if they had a,
Okay, well, when you sign off on it, we'll sign off on it.
Yeah.
How's that?
Are you
Okay.
gonna be the one that tells them then that they need a water?
I'd be glad to.
Okay,
We've got that meeting at 10 o'clock,
okay.
and that's at, I wouldn't want to be sure I was there, so, but yes,
Yeah.
but I'd sign off on this if we got
Okay.
the water truck.
All right, and you'll notify them and tell them that they need a water
That's
truck
right.
or a pumper,
And I thought they'd probably be here.
couple hundred gallons of water at least, anyway.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
I don't know, what's the requirement on a pumper?
It depends upon, it's a type 3, but they have 2.5. It depends on,
Yeah.
yeah.
They gotta have something there.
Yeah,
You know, even when we were road building with the excavator, you still had to have a pumper there. It
Yes.
wasn't any different than a logging operation,
no, and you were.
even though you were digging dirt. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, you still had a pumper behind you
Yeah.
in case you needed it.
Yeah, but Sanders County made them get nothing, so that's what they're hoping that Sanders County, I wonder why Sanders County didn't get concerned about
I
that.
don't know, maybe it was in an area that
Yeah,
was wet or something. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Dominion Creek isn't nearly as dry as it is down here, but it's still dry everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, you get a fire going and it's gonna
It's gonna
burn.
go, yeah.
So whose idea, I thought that if, didn't we come into where, oh, that was just for bid, that wasn't for contract, never mind.
Did you tell me that he did get insurance finally? Or
Oh,
an exemption or-
yeah, and in the last bill, he had a copy of proof of his liability
Oh,
insurance.
good.
Did Alan look at this, Casey? Okay.
Yep.
The only thing I would wonder is, we've got the effective date, notwithstanding the day of the execution of this instrument, the effective date of this agreement shall be July 1, 2017, and may be terminated at any time. Did Ellen say we should have any language in there about how long this goes on for?
No, I don't think so.
I think that might be a well worth,
Yeah, because it's open-ended,
Yeah.
it just says a start date, it doesn't say,
yeah.
Can be reviewed
And may-
on a yearly basis or
Yes,
something.
to be reviewed on a yearly basis and may be terminated at any time.
without just cause, or just whatever we want.
Well, whatever commissioners.
For any reason.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
put that in there. How much is he charging?
$25 per hour for labor is contract price.
That's probably fair.
Oh, it does have it under the contract portion, not the effective date. It says, either party may request a review, of the contract price and negotiations to establish a different rate or method of pay. The party requesting to reevaluate. Then it's only talking about reevaluating the hourly rate, not the entire contract. You know. Oh, okay. Termination of contract. This agreement shall be self-renewing on July 1 of each year. Either party may choose to terminate the agreement without breach by providing the other 30 days written notice of intent to exit the agreement.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You guys want to look it over before we...
That Lolo one looks like it kicked up, huh?
Looks good to me.
Okay.
Jeez. Yeah.
That was,
They had some live fire that night, they showed it on TV, yeah.
well, that was another one. I mean, how long do you let it burn before it's a fire?
But, yeah,
Oh, I like that. Any repair work over 20 hours or $500 needs prior approval.
Hmm. Should have been a line on there for the contract, or the sheriff to sign too, because they said, well, I didn't see that part. I didn't know that.
Uh-huh. No, I think that's fine.
All right. So should we,
I make a motion that we approve the
Contract.
contract for the sheriff's office vehicle maintenance and repair. Is it MLS?
Yeah,
Is that what it's
MLS,
called?
yeah.
MLS. Contracting, is that what it is?
yeah, MLS repair, yeah.
MLS repair?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Then sign off on the safety thing.
You could read it aloud to us.
Oh, that would be very exciting.
It'd be like our bedtime story. You know, Casey, something that they did down at Tricon, and I don't know if it's something we want to consider here, is they put it inside the mill if it went dark for whatever reason. They put arrows, glowing arrows for exits.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
I know our lights light up, our exit sign lights light up.
Believe it or not.
So what had you drop your jaw on this page? Earlier, you let out an exasperated sound. Is there something wrong in the budget here?
No.
No.
No, that was just,
Overtime.
$155.
Well, how many? 155?
But that's,
Or 132.
you get that by working 24 hours a day, Roman.
Yeah, how you do the math on that?
Or maybe it's 48 hours a day, I'm not sure.
Would it be okay if I called Northwestern Energy and talked with them and told them?
Yeah,
I
give them a
said,
heads
"Me,
up so they'll come in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Need a 200-gallon water source available at each work site.
You
is
bet.
what it said. If that's agreeable, then I'll get back with you.
Yep.
All right?
Perfect.
Sounds good, Reggie.
Can we have at least,
Is there a partial board already in place? These two are,
no, I just thought of that too.
oh,
You don't have a board yet.
we
Who do we have?
Gosher
Oh,
and
okay.
Jerry Jones.
Oh,
So yeah, because are we needing 3 or 5 on this minimum?
At least 3, I believe. Doesn't there used to be 3?
yeah, at least 3.
Mm-hmm.
So
I couldn't
think
tell you who they were. Frank Smith was one of them, but he's the only one that stands out in my memory.
So we'll just have to, does Jerry Jones know we need a few more?
Yeah, he had notified that one person was still going to put in their application.
Okay. Mr. Morton,
That's all right.
11 o'clock, and now it's 12 after 11, but it is on the agenda as HRC, CSBG, work plan. What's the CSBG? Jim?
Community Services Block Grant.
Ah,
And I have what we call a work plan that'll give you an idea of what we're doing. The money is allocated to the state from the feds, and then it's distributed on a district, MACO district. So we're MACO District 11, as you know. And the funding is divided to the district. And then that work plan that you have before you talk about what we're going to do with it. The format is required by the state of Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services, and then the definitions of what we do are provided by the U.S. Health and Human Services. So a lot of different things that are used in terms of assistance, from housing to job training. We do a lot of information referral services, and that is what's included in what's before you in a lot of detail. Then there are performance measurements that we have that are required by both the state and the federal government in terms of what we do with the money. The budget has been about, this year will be $474,000 for the 3 counties. The budget year runs from July 1 to June 30th, so we're preparing in advance. So this will be starting for the 2018. And how much money we get is dependent on the Congress. So it could be the same or it could be nothing.
So this goes to HRC as a whole?
Yes,
And then
for
you
the
give
3
you
counties,
the-
yeah, District 11, MACO District 11. And
So-
we've been getting this money, or something like it, it changed, it's had its name changed about 3 times since 1965.
So give us some kind of idea of what you would do with this money in Mineral County.
Well, one of the things we're doing, or that money is paid for, would be grant writing. So for instance, with the town of Superior, we wrote a grant for 3 new rental units. So that community services block grant this last year was used to pay for the grant writer, was paid to do the preliminary work for that particular grant. The town got the grant, about $537,000, so that will be used to build 3 apartments, 2-bedroom, bath and a half for seniors. So a lot of the funding goes either to work on those kind of projects. If you're in Valley County, we have been applying for a 18-unit senior project in Stevensville. That's just on the housing component. The other thing that it does is it's woven through the other projects that we have. So we do a youth employment program, and youth now is defined up to age 24. So we work with folks, get them a job, do career guidance kind of things with them. And then during the summer, we also assist with putting them in government and nonprofits. So we have folks who are under 24 working for us at different in different areas, and we pay the wage. We also do the energy conservation, weatherization assistance. We go in and do an analysis of the home, put in insulation, look at the heating system, that kind of thing. And then, in addition, probably one of the largest programs we have is the bill assistance program. So we pay the propane, electric. There's no natural gas, but we do fuel oil, the deliverables. Not too much coal. I don't think we have much coal. We used to, but not too much anymore. So it's mainly propane, fuel, and electric for heating. The component there also is energy share. The low-income energy assistance program, that's pretty regulated by the federal regulations. However, energy share in Montana, that's donated. And that money can be used for people who have an emergency regardless of income.
It's donated.
Yes. The Energy Share of Montana is really good at getting money. So across the state, oh man, they raise, I don't know how many millions. Our budget for the coming year through them will be over 300,000. And we're just one district.
Yeah.
So they raise a lot of money.
What, Jim, so 9,000 nutritious meals at 3 locations, are any of those in Mineral County?
This last year, I think we assisted with the rent and utilities of about $1,200, and then we subsidized the pantry partners in Hamilton.
So there aren't any nutritious meals served in Mineral County, though?
Well, the nutritious meals that are served, other than helping with food bank, would be the lunch in the park.
Oh.
During the summer.
Oh, okay. And then the food pantries, I know there's one in Alberton. Is there any others in Mineral County? Food pantry?
You know, the only one that we have assisted is the one here in Superior.
Oh, so that's a different one, the food pantry in Alberton then.
Yeah.
They're out of the fire hall.
Run by churches.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we've
So
never
that name
really...
food pantry isn't necessarily...
We've never really assisted, and that's a good point. I don't know why.
Huh?
Maybe we just don't like Alberton. I don't know.
Yeah.
Check into that. It's the wrong end of the county.
Yeah.
But no, good point. I don't know why.
I guess my only concern with the low-income housing would be the competition with the, we're in the process of doing our budgets, and the competition with private people that are building housing. You know, we only took in what Jessica tell us, $40,000 was the increase that we got on revenue coming into the county for building, and I didn't very much. I guess I don't know what you got planned for Mineral County.
The only thing that we have planned for Mineral County are those 3 units.
In there in the town of Superior.
Yeah. And for anything that's built, our target would be at or below sales price of $151,000, and at that you can get some of our down payment assistance, so we can reach lower income people. If you look in St. Regis, that Regent has there at the golf course, that starts at what, 230s, maybe up to 250s, depending on the floor plan. Well, at that price point, they're looking at people way above our target population. Again, if we're going to assist somebody, we're right at that 151,000 in Mineral County, and that's by FHA standards. If you jump to Missoula County, that figure's 237,000,
Wow.
and it's about the same in Ravalli. So what the FHA, Federal Housing Administration, does is it does an annual survey of sales. So Mineral County for the last 2 years has been about 151,000. So if we're going to do any new building or any even existing homes, if it's over 151, we can assist. If you look at the MLS in Mineral County, there's not much under 151,000.
Right.
That would pass an FHA inspection. There are units out there, but they're not going to pass inspection. So from that point of view, I don't see us competing with the private. And then the rental units that we own, they're all restricted to people with lower incomes. So if you take the Eagle and Riverside, they actually have, here in Superior, they have rent subsidies. But you're talking really low incomes there, 30% of the area, the county median income. So they couldn't afford. Now, if you're looking at the Superior Commons or the Two Rivers, they're geared at a higher income folks because they're not subsidized. The way that we are able to build those two kind of projects is that we have private sector investors who get a tax credit. They infuse the equity to build, and then we have to offer those rents at below market. And again, that's defined by the IRS, because it's an IRS tax code project simply because of the tax credits. So I think there's very little competition with us in the private sector. Now there is competition with some of the units that are unable to meet our housing quality standards, and you all seen those. They just won't meet the plumbing, electrical is not up to standard. Some of those units are being rented all over the county. And as you know, Mineral County has one of the highest per capita uses of those older mobile homes. I think it's #1 in the state.
Wouldn't doubt that.
And I'm not making a comment on those units. Some of them are good units and they're people's homes, but some of them wouldn't meet our housing standards. So for our Section 8 program, where we are paying part of the rent, and that's a contract with private landlords, we go in and do just sort of a cursory inspection, see if all the lights work, the plumbing works, that kind of thing. And some of those units don't meet, and some of the stick built doesn't meet it. So we couldn't allow a family to lease. So we are pretty careful about the competition. But the other thing that I want to stress is that when you're talking about economic development, you're talking about housing. Because if you don't have a workforce housing component of your plan, that's the first thing anybody's going to ask you when they come in to talk about expanding current businesses, attracting new workers. And you see that all over. The obvious example was in the Bakken. And you had communities close to the Bakken. They didn't have the workforce housing. So people were going all over. So it all kind of trickles down and I think is interwoven when you start talking about business and economic development and housing. Because if you're going to attract new workers, where are they going to live?
Yep.
What are they going to buy? And I'm not sure what's going on in St. Regis with that property that the Regent has, if they've sold any.
Yeah, I don't know.
Last I heard they hadn't sold any, but that's going to be interesting to watch and see how many they sell, because I think they're priced well. Whereas in Alberton, the south side of Alberton, there's a lot of those that have gone up in the last 2 years. It is really.
Well, look there at Houston, how that sat for how many
Yeah.
years, and then all of a sudden it's
Yes,
boom.
yeah. And I'm wondering how many people are driving out from Missoula to Alberton to those units.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
And the lots are reasonable. I think they're 37,000. I think they have a common water system, but you have to put your own septic in. So you could get at, if you're looking about 200 to 250,000 for a lot of folks where they can buy comfortably, you could buy a lot for 37 and put a septic in and build at $100 a square. You could come in around the $200,000. But that's about where you end up. For us, again, in Mineral County, we'd have to build something that would sell for 151 or less, and that's pretty tough.
Okay.
So you just need us to,
Yep, there's a
agree with
letter, I
this?
think, that we're asking.
and remind me, the 3 counties are River Valley, Missoula, and Mineral.
Yes.
Any more questions, Dwayne, about
No,
Mineral
I don't-
County project?
No, I don't think so. I mean, that was a concern at one point. And
Mhm.
just wanted to see what was going on with that.
And then the development in St. Regis that we did for manufactured housing, those were assessed as real property and sold. So those are an example of the kind of housing that we've done in the past. Those are all real property and taxed as real property. But you know, we spent about $89,000 per unit. They appraised at 84. We lost money.
Yeah.
And we've done that, that's happened to us before, and it's
So that wasn't
it's
any
just the
compensation.
sales, it's just the
I
sales.
guess the one that comes to my mind was the one that we discussed about the senior housing there on the river.
Right, and that I backed off of, number one, because, you know, I heard there wasn't support for it, so we're not interested in doing that. But again, should we build anything there, it would have to be that 151, and I don't know anybody that's building for
No,
sale
for that price.
at that price.
Yeah.
But and that's the conundrum we get into. If communities don't want that kind of housing, and we understand that they might need it, and we hear all the time the need for senior housing, all the time, for especially accessible. And then you get into a dialogue with a community that's not really wanting that, it starts to cost, because you might have additional questions and a different kind of engineering, a different kind of site plan, a different kind of unit. Well, that costs money. Well, if you're at a 151 price point, you really can't afford much more.
Yeah.
So that's the other component when we go in and look at a project, because we have to anticipate any additional costs, questions.
Can't have 200,000 in it and sell it for 151.
Right, no,
Yeah.
no, just doesn't work. Or plan and then have the prices creep up to where you're stuck. And if you look at other builders, they go in and build, and maybe they can increase 2,000 or 3,000, or they can come back, and all of that costs money. When you ask to re-engineer, ask to resize, ask for a different site plan. But we, at 151, there's no room.
Right. All right. No, I don't have anything else.
Okay. Alright, so the community service block grant work plan for the years 2018 and 2019, is there?
I make a motion that we approve that.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor of the motion and signing the letter endorsing this plan, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, be none, motion carried. And this is from Nate, and this is the Camel's Hump thing. And there's just a change in the funding. They added $2,000, and here's what they did. They just extended. This was the original amount, and then they added $2,000 more.
Okay.
So it's just a modification of the.
I think we did that the last time too, didn't we?
This is the Camel's Hump. And all they did was they added, they extended a little bit of work for another $2,000 additional. So it's a change.
There you go, sir.
Okay.
All right, thank you, and
Thank you.
I'll get the a copy.
He said, I did get him again, talked to
did?
Paul,
I'm sure
and he
everybody
said we've
agrees.
had a DNRC pumper unit with us on some of those rigs, but we will have a rig with us. I said, the only thing I put, I said, need a 250 water source available at each work site. He said, no problem on that. He said, we don't want to start any kind of fire. I said, okay, I'll sign off on that, and then I'll have them send this copy of this to them.
Okay, sounds good.
But I talked to Paul this time, he was in there, so.
All right,
So
thank
that-
you.
And then you send me.
So if we can send a copy of that to him, that'd be good. And, you know, I signed it there.
Okay.
And, that should take care of that issue for whatever they're trying.
Yeah, well, good.
Okay,
people.
thank you.
Yeah, we're here with Jessica Wabbit in our budgetary conversations. So she gave us a handout. You get to look at it yet, Wayne?
Yeah,
I didn't. So.
Let me,
I
let's
had the opportunity to look at it. Let me put it down.
do you want me to go over what we have? Are we ready,
Sure.
Robin?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so, you should have three things. The first thing is this. And this is just a really, just an overview of, this is the revenue that's budgeted in these funds. This is our expenditures in these funds. This is the deficit right now of $21,971. And then just an FYI, this is what was their approved budget last year. Just so you have something to compare it to. So there's that handout. The next handout has to do with payroll. And so right now, what's worked into the budget is a 30-cent pay increase for all non-elected officials. And elected officials have a pay increase of 2%. And so that's what's worked into the budget at that amount. And then this is kind of all the details. So say if public safety were to say, well, how'd you come up with my payroll budget? You could say, well, that's, 6 detention officers and overtime of $8,981. So that you can see who's budgeted and what's the FTE of those employees and at what rate. So we can look at that.
So restate that again on this sheet.
Yeah,
So first, the first page, they don't really have overtime, so what, go to sheriff one?
go to page 2,
Okay.
and let's say, Ronnie were to say, Jessica, how did you come up with my payroll budget, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you would say, well, say, for example, go down to sheriff detention. See that bold,
Okay.
okay? You would say, so the total budget, it's $145,345. And that consists of 6 detention officers, all working full-time. You'll see that FTE column. And then also, we built in overtime of $8,981. And that's the same we did last year.
So I see the FTE, I see the annual rate. Where's the OT column?
Right here. Down.
Oh, down, okay, down there, okay, I'm still.
And so then you could tie that 145,000, that will tie to their budget.
Okay,
But it gives us the detail of what is that, how many people are in that number? Who's,
right, gotcha.
yeah. Or for example, like go down below the sheriff detention, you'll see 911 emergency. So in 911 emergency, we were able to budget for 3 dispatchers for a total of $68,494.
Where are the other dispatchers? 'Cause
So the
there's a-
other
there's gonna have
dispatchers-
overtime included in that other one?
They're up under the sheriff.
So the other
Oh,
dispatchers are in the the sheriff deputy / dispatch, and you'll see the other ones up there.
Okay, but you don't have any of their overtime incorporated in that?
So
Yeah.
overtime, not in 911, the overtime would have to come out of,
The sheriff,
and the overtime in that fund, it's 14,000.
So that 14,000 is including deputy and those dispatcher overtime.
No. So look, so we have, there's 2 overtime lines under that section.
Right.
You'll see overtime under, it's under the under sheriff. And there's 26,881.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And then there's overtime under the dispatch, which
Gotcha,
is 14,000. So they have quite a bit, maybe not enough. Ronnie was just saying that with the fires, you're gonna have tons of overtime, but at some point you'll get reimbursed for the overtime.
But doesn't that reflect on next year's budget?
And I think it will take a long time to get reimbursed, right? It usually takes a
Yeah.
year or 2.
Oh, no, I don't
No,
think it'll take
no.
that long, but a couple months probably.
Maybe
Oh,
4,
then,
I would guess, wouldn't you, Lauren?
oh.
Yeah, because
3 or 4.
So it will
Kelly's
be,
already got paid for half
Oh.
of his, he's already turned in half of his fire stuff, so.
Then I-
But it depends on if the sheriff's office is,
Turning it
Ronnie
in.
said that they're
theirs
doing
in.
their time cards
Yeah.
weekly with them
Well,
or
if they ain't
something.
turning it in, it's their own damn fault. and
well, they,
they're shit
what
out
they
of
do
luck.
is they turn in their timesheets, but then they have to sit down and go over it with them, and then Tom's gotta check off on it, say, well, yeah, that's what, and so that they are getting reimbursed for what they're supposed to be getting reimbursed for.
Yeah, so, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
but-
what they're doing.
Just forget
But
it. Now if they're getting paid by us, they can't just forget about it, not follow through.
It sounds
With the
like Ronnie was aware of it and,
Okay,
you know.
The reimbursement process.
Yeah,
'cause I
But
talked
really,
to-
I think that's great. I mean, really, I don't think it will be an issue.
Yeah,
That it
'cause I
sounds like it
talked to
will
their-
all be in the same fiscal year.
their
Yeah, I
finance
mean-
Yeah.
person.
All the
and-
overtime and the reimbursement will all
Yeah,
be in
'cause
the
the
same
fire
year.
started
so,
July 16th, so.
yeah. Yep. So I think that will be
They
fine.
should have, if Kelly's already been paid once, they should have probably.
Well, I don't know whether they've even sat down with them and
Turned in their
gone
stuff.
gone over their stuff. So I told Tom last night, I said, you need to go to finance and make sure that
All that's,
all this is, you know,
don't look
is,
to us to get it.
yeah. So, I mean,
I'm not sure what finance would do either. What would finance do?
Forest Service
the
fund.
Forest
Forest
Service
Service
Finance.
Finance.
I'm sorry, not this finance.
I'm like,
The
I don't
For-
know what
No, the
they could
Forest
do.
Service Finance. He
Gotcha.
needs to sit down with them and make sure that
Okay.
what they've turned in
For
and
sure.
what they've got documented is the
Super,
same, and then
right.
he can sign off on it, and they can pay him, you know,
Right.
what they've made up until then. So.
Right. Right.
But
Hopefully
they
we
have to follow
get
through with
every
that,
penny
so.
we are due
Yeah.
reimbursed. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Um,
I wonder if, I hope that they're charging for everything, not just their hours, but maybe fuel for the cars.
Well, Tom
They
said he's
should
turning
supply
it. Tom said he's turning in for mileage, so
Okay.
I don't know. With the
He's turning in for
deputies are
mileage.
too,
Yeah.
I don't know. So
They should be fueling them out there occasionally if they're not turning in for mileage.
yeah, you'll have to ask Tom what they're turning in for. So.
Anyway, so this is simply support for the payroll budget in the big budget. Okay, so we can always say, oh well, that was 3 people budgeted or whatever, right? What else? Then we just have, you have this. So this is a printout of just the expenditure budget just for these funds. Because these are the only funds we really need to still work on. And that's it. So, you know, we're, the new revenue, so our new revenue, so the taxable valuation went down 100 and the mill value went down $122 a mill. So it went from 11,114 to 10,992. So all of our new revenue, it was 40,000, but if I take into account our voted mills with the general fund, our new revenue is only $37,587. That's just not enough to keep up with anything. I mean, that was just really disappointing. Anyway, so that was our kind of new tax revenue that we'll get. I don't know where you guys want to start. One other thing I would like to say is although we only need to cut $21,971, I would like to have you guys maybe cut a little bit more, because if we cut just the 21, we're not building anything. And this is a heck of a lot better than it was last year, and I think we could make a little headway on moving in that right direction.
And there's probably a couple other things before we, you know, you told me this is inclusive of 30 cents for all and the 2% increase. And, but it doesn't probably include the questions like the health department. Does our health director go from 14 hours to 20 or 24?
So let's talk about that. So what they wanted, let's just look at this payroll page. Let's go and find health. Third page, kind of towards the top. Yeah, so they wanted $112,000. I think they wanted, let's see, where would I have that? They wanted more hours for Jen Donovan. But we did still increase it. Let me look at the old one.
And I assume it is. It's including the revenue also from the increase in the school contract from Superior.
I would think so. I used all of the numbers they gave me, so I would hope that they gave me the.
Oh, okay. They gave that to you then.
Yeah. So let's see. So last year, so Barb was at 0.7 FTE. And so that's the same. There was the new receptionist at 0.75, and so that's the same. And then Jen was at 0.4, and Peggy was at 0.35. So I just added those together, and that gave us 0.75. So, but they are asking for 112. They're asking for more hours. So you'd have to consider that.
So what we're looking at now is only.
Let me tell you what she's wanting. I think. Let me see. Where did I put that one? So they are asking for. So they're asking for 24 hours for the director, 16 hours for St. Regis and Alberton nurse, 28 hours for Superior School, and 30 hours for the receptor assistant, administrative assistant.
16 for Alberton and St. Regis and 23 for Superior.
28.
28 hours.
Yeah, so they're asking for a total of, let's just see how far off we are. We're not bad. So they're asking for 2.45 FTEs out of the general fund, and right now they're budgeted at 2.2.
So right now the budget at 2.2, and if Jen was at 24 hours, it would go to 2.45 FTE.
Yeah, pretty much they want Jen as. I don't really know exactly how they want to work it out, but they just want Jen in the office more.
Right.
Yeah. So you're a quarter of an FTE off.
To satisfy what they want.
Correct.
So currently, this 2.2 that you have in there now, that's categorizing Jen at the old 14 hours like Peggy was.
Well, that's giving her 30 hours a week in the general fund, Jen.
Okay.
So that's giving her, because she also is the St. Regis Alberton school nurse.
Right.
So she's at 30 hours right now. So that gives her, minus 16 for Alberton and St. Regis, and how it's allocated in the summer because she's not always at the school. So that would leave her 14 hours a week as director. And that's at 30 hours.
Right. And I think
And
that's
that's
the
it.
problem, is that I think that she is not going to be able to juggle all those balls with those few hours.
With 14.
Yeah. But
She wants what?
wow.
wants-
She'd be happy with anything more, but she said ideally she probably needs 24 hours to be the director instead of 14. Because we cut Peggy back last year, but of course Peggy kind of agreed to it, kind of like, not nonchalantly, but she wasn't here anyway, so it was kind of like, I think she just dumped it all on Jen and the other girls, but now that there's actually someone who's going to do it, I think Jen's thinking that there's probably just not enough hours for her to do that and the part of the grant and the nurse and the So that was just one thing. I knew that we probably had to consider how to remedy it, and the other thing I was thinking of was
Yeah. What was the other thing?
well, the other thing was that our finance girl was making way less last year, and we finally gave her a raise. But we were going to talk about this year, or now that the new budget's out, if we were going to bump that up a little bit more to make sure she'd stay.
Oh.
Remember that conversation?
Yep.
But so, did you include, speaking of that, so she was included in the 30-cent raise on this though? Okay.
Yep. She's on the very last page,
Okay.
bottom. The other thing, just so you guys know, I don't know if we want to change it. Is how help. Look at the road budget. So did you ever email Jason and ask him to change that?
I saw the email. I don't know if it was from Casey or no, it was from you saying we need to revisit the.
Yeah, he needs to, look at this sheet. Go back to this one. So his proposed expenditures are $1,021,000. He just budgets high because he can. But really, we want to budget. And I know we talked about this, and I kind of gave you guys the option. I'm like, well, you could have them do it next year, whatever. But then I really started thinking about it, and the road fund is what's called a major fund, and it gets separate reports in the audit report. And one of them is a budget to actual, where you have to explain variances. And so we really just need to have that expenditure number be more realistic. So I do need him to change that, so if you could have Casey send him an email. But this is something else I want you guys to consider. If we don't get the Big Forest Reserve money anymore, when we levy for health insurance, we take the total number of employees that we have, and we do a calculation, and then that's what we can levy for health insurance. But what's happened, and what has happened in the past, which is good in my opinion, is you levy for all of that, and that goes into one fund. But in the road fund, because there was always so much money in there, they would pay their own health insurance, and they would pay part of the commissioner's health insurance. But if that fund starts going down, we probably don't want to do that anymore. We probably want to move that back and pay for that out of that permissive levy fund. So
that permissive levy would automatically go up that amount.
well, we levy for it anyway. We levy for it, but what it does is we levy for all of our employees in that permissive fund, right? And that's what you do. But we don't pay. So that helps subsidize the county's cost for everybody else.
Right.
Because then we pay for the road employees separate. So I'm thinking we should leave it like it is for this year. But next year, I mean, if we really are gonna dwindle that money down that fast, we'll have to revisit that. But we'll have to revisit that along with, additional mill levies and things anyway. But I just wanted you to kind of think about that a little bit.
So Casey, how do you want her to address that? Just, he needs to be more specific on it.
Oh yeah, just say, can you please revise your budget so it represents the actuals better? And it should take them about 5 minutes, I would think. It's not a big deal. I think the other thing, so the nurses' payroll has to be discussed. Are we moving on? So the salary resolution board, they also recommended a 1% longevity increase. Are we moving on from that and we're just going to, are we good with just the 2%? Or do we want to try to cut more and give them that 1% longevity?
That amount to?
Yeah, how much is that longevity going to cost?
I don't know, I'm not really sure. I can go look. Let me go, I have it all worked up. I can just go put in a number and see what you guys are thinking about the health department. I'll be right back. Anything else that we really need to address? The health department, the 1% longevity, if we're happy with the 30-cent raise.
Yeah, I think the 30-cent raise is fine.
Okay.
I'd like to see more, but also part of last year's plan, if everybody remembers, when we did all the cutting, was we were gonna try and build that reserve along with all of this, and I think 30 cents is a good start, and if we can maintain that, maybe we can go more next year, and
So
a lot of things.
What about the pay that I requested for Wendy and Kim? I requested $1 an hour for each one of them.
So, how are you on collections? Are you caught up? Are you still?
I'll be back.
Working on it.
Yes.
We never get caught up. We're always
Your answer will be on that.
in collections for civil or
Right, what Cindy was hired for,
what Brandy was hired
or
for.
what Brandy is doing now. I
She's
mean,
keeping up, yeah.
but then she's also,
Well, everybody in the office is cross-trained. Brandy right now is doing a lot of the civil. She answers the phones too and takes payments. Everybody in our office, the ultimate goal is that everybody does the same thing. So if somebody's not there, somebody else can step in and do the job. And Brandy ultimately will hopefully be at that level. It's going to take a while. The software program's pretty complex, the full court and what have you. It takes a while to learn that. But ultimately, that is going to be the goal, that she will do that. Kim and Wendy basically do pretty much what each other can do. Kim is a substitute judge also now, so she can do whatever I do. She can sit in court. She can sit up there and wear the robe. Wendy does pretty much all the financials. She does the end of month, she does the bank reconciliation. She's also stepping in and doing more of the courtroom clerk type activity that Kim kind of did before. Also, we're doing e-filing. So their job responsibilities have expanded quite a bit. So I feel their pay should also reflect that.
So when Kim does this, sitting in as a judge, does she go to the sub-judge pay, which is 20? Is she sitting in as a sub-judge then?
What's that?
When Kim sits in and does sub-judging for you, does she then go ahead and put in for the sub-judge pay, which is 20?
There's a 20, I don't know.
Oh. But you said she's doing sub-judging, right?
She can, yes. So she can make decisions too, not just from the bench, but she can make, if somebody's requesting a deferral or something like that, she can make those decisions without actually coming to me. A lot of times she does come to me most of the time, but if I'm not available, she can make that decision. So both their responsibilities have expanded quite a bit. And I know Jessica made that argument on Nicole, that her responsibilities have expanded, and you gave Nicole a $2 an hour increase effective immediately, which I think is great. But to be equitable, I think you should also consider doing that for Wendy and Kim.
I just think, originally Cindy was hired to get things caught up.
I'm sorry, what?
I said originally when Cindy was hired, it was to get things caught up from the back, what was backlogged in collections. And, if that's caught up and maybe you only need her 1 day a week to do the collections, Mary's swamped up there too. I just feel that she could use some extra help too, and maybe if Brandy only worked 1 day a week in your office and 2 days up at Mary's, or I'm just.
At one time, there was 3 people, full-time people in that office, in our office.
And your budgets were a heck of a lot better than they are today too, Dale.
What's that?
I said the budget was a heck of a lot better shape than they are today.
I understand that, and we're doing it with 2.5 people.
But we had more money.
There used to be 3
Brandy's
in the
working
clerk and
for
recorder's
considerable-
office, and how many in the treasurer's office, and
Brandy's working for less money than Cindy did too. And that's the other thing we need to talk about is does Brandy's rate of pay that she was making at the jail carry over?
no, it's a totally
No,
different.
Jamie's pay
description.
carried over when she moved upstairs. And you said Cindy was kind of an exception to the rule. Well, Jamie must be exception to the rule too. So if you're making exceptions to the rule,
No, Jamie went up as deputy clerk of court.
initially she wasn't.
I think she was
Yeah.
making 10 down in Justice Court, and
When she,
went upstairs for 10.
and she went in, yeah, she went in as deputy clerk of court.
As opposed to what?
Pardon?
As opposed to what?
What, did she maintain her rate of pay she was making in Justice Court when she went up to District Court?
I'd have to check. She might have been making more when she came upstairs. I don't remember exactly. I'd have to check.
Well, I know I asked about
I think she
policy.
started out at whatever she,
same
as what she was there, but then when she got appointed as deputy clerk of court, then her wage went up.
I'm pretty sure she was making 10 in Justice Court, and then she went upstairs and made 10 until she asked her to be her deputy. Right?
And that was a learning process for the commissioners so that they understood that it was a deputy position. So, yeah.
So my argument is there's additional responsibilities that both Kim and Wendy do. And if that's your only basis for giving a pay increase, then they qualify.
So, do you have what their job description was before and write up a new job description for them?
Jessica, write up a new job description for Nicole.
Yeah, she did. Because Nicole basically is basically doing Stacy's deputy person's work in that office. So she came down as a clerk, and for a couple of years worked doing all payroll and all claims, and so that's a responsibility that a deputy clerk and recorder does, and she's doing that. So that's why she.
I mean, she's a totally different role. I mean,
Yeah.
that's night and day from inputting some claims upstairs a couple years ago to running the finance office.
Yeah.
There's no question that's a different
Yeah.
position.
And
It's kind
But-
of different to see her signature on the check. Yeah, I signed checks last
Oh,
year.
really?
Yeah, I did. You know, I mean, yeah, but that's where she's at.
Yeah. I did look at the other, do you want that number now or?
Sure.
Okay, so it really wouldn't be much. Do you want to finish with Dale?
No, that's fine.
So you're only talking about $3,500 really, because the sheriff already gets the longevity. But this is the thing, this is where I think you guys should look at it. Like, for example, the clerk and recorder gets a 41 cents an hour raise. The
that
treasurer's
2%?
41 cents. So it's almost like, well, why do we want to, I mean, the non-elected people are only getting 30 cents. So why do we want to split that more? But, so right now,
That's with the longevity?
no, that's just with the 2%.
With the 2%.
So with the 2%, the clerk and recorder's 41 cents, treasurer's 41 cents, clerk of court's 39 cents, JP's 39, commissioners are 20, sheriff is 45. I didn't do the county attorney, but they're already well above that 30-cent mark. So I'm not sure if you want to give them, so you have to decide that. But it's not a lot, it's like $3,500.
That was without the longevity.
That's correct.
How much was it with the longevity?
I didn't do that by
You
an
didn't do it.
hourly. Let's see, I can tell you.
Well, I guess my pitch is, I think that elected officials are just that, they're elected officials. And we take on a lot of responsibility in our roles. We've taken freezes just like everyone else has taken freezes. And I guess if that was the recommendation of the salary board, which we have no control over, I feel comfortable with that. I don't know what the longevity adds to that.
It'd be like an additional 21 cents an hour for clerk and recorder. So
So
it'd
maybe
be,
do without the longevity and take the
2%.
2%.
that's what I'm,
Yeah.
yeah. So it would go from, 41 cents which is just the 2%. And this is just clerk and recorder. We'll just talk about one. If you add on a 1% longevity, it goes up another 20 cents. So it's at 61 cents an hour.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't think that's
yeah.
necessarily
Okay.
fair. But
Okay.
Yeah,
I think
and
that'd be kind of splitting the difference there and
Yes.
satisfying everyone. What do you think?
well, I mean, you just in here, I mean, that $3,500 could go to somebody's pay increase, I mean, but if we did it the other way around, if we say, let's give them 1% pay increase and 1% longevity, then that ends up hurting the deputies because their pay is based off the sheriff's 2%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that, I think, I'm with Dwayne, let's just do the 2% pay increase
Okay.
and not do the longevity because it's gonna make the pay disparity too great between the workers that we're trying to help. And
That's kind of what I see. Okay, so then we're good with that. So we're good with how the raises are, we're good with our 30-cent raise for non.
I feel
elected.
relieved that we're given a raise at all. I really do, because
Well,
I thought
plus
going-
we're paying more for their health insurance too.
Yeah, we're paying
so,
more
I
for the
mean,
health
it's-
insurance, we're paying more for our liability insurance. I'm sure we're
Yeah.
paying more for electricity, which I need to talk to Joel, that light was on out there again. I don't know if that's from the smoke or not.
I wonder if he
But-
thinks it's dark.
Mine.
Huh. Okay. So then you guys are on to the nurses,
Oh, it's just,
or the health department, I should.
yeah, I was gonna try to see.
Or we can just go and start looking at different funds to see what you guys think about the health department.
Well, I think they busted their butts to cut where they needed to, and, I think that they're doing the community a great service. I mean,
Yeah, and I think that's a wonderful staff. I mean,
yeah,
for
yeah.
this small an area, I
Yeah.
think there's more experience there than what a lot of bigger areas see.
Yeah.
I don't know how to make that work for Jennifer.
I would rather increase it there if we can
Okay, so let's
somehow
assume,
cut somewhere else.
let's say, let's see where else we can do it then. So right now you guys are at 22,000, right? But if you're gonna give them what they want, you have to give them, say, another 12,000, roughly. Okay? So if you do that, we're at $33,971 that we would need to cut.
Where did the other 12,000 come from?
If we're gonna give the health department what they want.
That would raise their 12,000 dollars?
Right now, they're at 101, and they want to be at 112. And that was prior to that 30 cents raise, which they didn't calculate. So, I think 12,000, it would cost 12,000 to get them to where they want to be. Maybe even more, right? Maybe 15,000. Say 15. Okay, so if we want to get the health department to what they're asking for, we would need to cut 37,000.
Okay.
Okay.
And you may want to start, like how I might, so here's current year expenditure, and here's the prior year expenditure. So you can kind of look at that, because we know last year we had it pretty tight,
Okay.
right? So you may want to just look at the ones that have gone up. So the general fund, it went up a couple $1,000s. That's not bad considering the raise. That means it's actually down in other places. The weed is down from the prior year. The fair is up
Why is that?
because they've asked for a higher budget than what we approved last year. So you guys could, you might want to look at the fair and say, oh, well,
I say we hold it where it's at. They can't, they had a fair this year, you know, they tried like hell not to, I guess, but,
Well, somebody paid for the band.
and that's fine. They need to do that every year. I mean, we're getting to a point where we're looking at essential services. Do we want to cut a deputy? You know, I think that's probably the last thing that most people in this county want. You know, essential services. If they need to go out and raise a couple $1,000s again next year, then they need to go out and raise a couple $1,000. That's my opinion.
So, the far right FY expenditure budget was last year's, and the proposed is the upcoming year.
correct.
And the library, look how much the library, from 63 to 77. Is that-
Yes. Yeah, they're asking for quite a bit more than what you guys approved last year too.
Mhm.
So that would be one that you might want to take a look at and say, oh, no, let's, that's how you can kind of see which ones are,
Yeah.
so the ones that pop out, it's the fair, district court, it's up 5,000, but, a lot of that could be the pay increase, so I don't,
Well, that and then,
Compr-
a lot of juries or
yeah, there's not a bunch you can do with that.
no.
Comprehensive insurance, that one's up, but there's not a darn thing we can do about it,
Mhm.
right?
Well, there
Library.
is.
Well, there is.
Yeah.
Quick
So-
wrecking patrol cars.
The planning board.
Theirs is way down.
On another area, they were up. Okay. Health and sanitation.
And I
Been
would,
there for a little
Oh,
bit.
yeah.
so ideally I would, let's even rephrase. So, originally I was saying we have to cut $36,971. I really would encourage us, if we're gonna do that, to go for 45,000. So we are making headway again
With the
back to reserving
Reserve.
a little bit of cash. Otherwise, we're just
40,
breaking
45?
45. I mean, then you're up $9,000, right? Not a big deal, but something.
I look at a little justification of holding the budgets the same as they were last year. Look at the senior citizens. Senior citizens has been at $12,000 since I've been commissioner. They've never raised it, they've never lowered it.
They've always worked within that
They
budget.
always have worked within that. That's for 3 senior citizen centers across the county. Now, I know everything doesn't work like that, but
I must have dialed the wrong number. Casey, maybe can you double check for me?
Who are we calling?
I was gonna call the health department.
Oh, and see if they could.
What Jen said there, yeah.
So what would that be if the fair? I should have.
Well, the library right there, the difference of $14,192. Their increase request.
And then the fair's 3,000.
You can call 3564. That's the main.
That's 16.
Hey, Barb, it's Roman.
Between the library and the
Is Miss
fair,
Jen in
that's
the office today?
16,616.
Okay. Hi, Jen, it's Roman. Hey, we're doing budgetary conversations here.
Maybe Jen can just come on.
And do you want to do it on the phone, or do you have time to come down? We're haggling over the budget here, and I thought that you needed some more hours, and we got questions, and we got ideas, and so what's easier for you, speakerphone or in person? Oh, okay, great, thank you. Perfect, okay. All right. She's on her way to home visit, but she's gonna pop in here first, and then she'll be in
Good.
5 minutes.
It'll be better in person,
Okay.
I think. You could always decrease the raise some too. You know, it's an option. I'm not saying I like that option, but it's an option.
Mm-hmm. Well,
But I just think they have, I just couldn't imagine not having a pay freeze 2 years in a row. I just think that would be
yeah.
really hard. Hi,
Hello.
Ellen. Hello. How's it going? Good.
And that would be 4 of them in recent history.
Is that right? When were
I think so.
the other two or?
I think we froze the first 2 years I was elected.
So that would be 4 and 10 years, something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's craziness.
Yeah, because it's been 2 times since I've been here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, we learned that our mill numbers went down, but with a couple extra buildings going on, we gained $37,000 more money than last year's budget. So we're
Oh no, that's horrible. It's bad.
I mean, it's, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
so,
That's
It's
it.
good that we gained.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
bad that we didn't
Yeah.
gain.
but we don't have
Yes,
as much for
as- yeah.
what we'd like for. And so our proposed budget here, we've inserted a 30-cent an hour raise for everybody and a 2% for elected officials. But now we're haggling over, still trying to make some cuts just to make that occur. So.
Oh. Thanks.
Welcome to Monroe County.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yep.
I'm going to talk to Ellen for a second.
Yeah.
But you guys are
Okay.
Thank you.
Like last week, they were both at that
oh
clerk and
convention.
recorder convention, and so they had Cheryl Denman in there.
I guess so.
Yeah, that was the first
How
time
about
I'd
the
ever
county
met her.
attorney? Yeah.
Pardon me?
How about the county attorney? They have fill-in.
Yeah, I could bet to see that sometimes when
Well, if Lorna got
Lorna
sick,
Or
gets.
military.
Yeah.
military.
So I guess, yeah, I'm,
Why am I the only one that doesn't have that line item?
Because you're never sick.
Well, I don't have
Superwoman.
that. Jessica, add that to my budget.
You're Superwoman.
Stop laughing.
Oh.
I must be the only one that doesn't have that.
oh shoot, what was I saying out loud?
Oh, well, currently the treasurer doesn't either, so you're good.
But I don't think like that the fill-in should get a raise. It should just be.
Yeah, there should be just fill-in pay, and
It's fill-in
I'm
pay,
trying to understand how
$9.50 an
how the
hour.
county attorney's fill-in got to be $1 more than everybody else's fill-in.
Just from what they asked for years, like last year. The fill-ins are just a kind of a carryover.
Yeah. Well, I kind of like with Lori, let's do away with the 30-cent raise for fill-in, just make
I
all
don't think
fill-ins
that's gonna
just.
be a big thing. I
You
wouldn't.
do?
No, I don't.
But-
I don't think it's
Oh, I
worth
don't think
redoing
it'll-
all
Don't
of.
think it'll be a.
I don't think it's worth redoing
but
all of payroll.
In addition to that, I was going to say that we should make all the fill-ins be the same rate. Okay.
Let's talk about something that. Oh, Maybe it's, yeah. I guess they
Well,
just pay more in the attorney's office.
Maybe in the county attorney's
Well,
office not.
I mean, because you got to fill in the justice court at 8:50. You've got to fill in at 9:70. You've got to fill in at 9:50. I mean,
What should we make it?
Hi, Jen.
We can do, what do you guys want to make the fill-in rate?
That'd probably just be the same at what, and even if, well,
Yeah,
since we're
9.
doing this raise, I just make it be 9.
$9 bucks.
that's
Make
what I'm
all the
thinking.
fill-in
All
nine?
the fill-ins
Correct, yeah.
$9 an hour.
Let's talk to Jen and then,
Yeah, we'll go back to that.
Hey, Jen. How are ya?
but then we should talk about, union negotiations and what we want to do there, okay?
Right. Okay. So,
Have you had any conversations with them?
no, just via email, and then we decided to wait and see what happened with the mills and evaluation, so here we are. Now, I guess I can email them back now and say,
Thank you.
so we come to yours and so we're trying to give everybody a 30-cent raise, but anyway, we came to yours, and so I asked Jessica if this was at 14 hours or 24, and you said that was at 14, right? The same as last year, Jessica?
Yeah, you're 10 hours short for Jen. Or for Jen and a new nurse or whatever.
So yeah, that's why I wanted to come down and kind of explain to Dwayne and Lori too, because that there's not an extra nurse in there, and also that's the other hour. So what's your idea, again, live and in person?
Sure. So what summarize our
To make
conversation?
to make it doable where you're not,
Oh,
because
yeah.
you're still trying to be the nurse and the director.
Right. So what I wanted to clarify first is I realized when I come in here and I say director, what I mean is director and the like lead clinical RN basically, because we don't have any time dedicated out of the general fund budget to do immunization administration or communicable disease investigation. So when I say director, it's managing all of the stuff in the health department plus all of the nursing duties. 14 hours is not enough time to get that done. And so a quick synopsis is last year when we were preparing for all the cuts, I had done a time study from the year before, and what I came down to is the director position, the director/lead clinical RN, shakes out to about a 37-hour per week job. And so I realized that that's not doable. So what I want is to have enough time to be successful and to be legal and to do everything that we need to be doing. So, and we've been having a communicable disease and animal bite explosion. Together, we've already had 17 cases, and last year we had 47 total, and that's just since July 1st. So it's been pretty busy.
Wow.
And so that really makes me nervous. When Roman came and talked to me, I laid out everybody's FTEs and everybody's positions and all the grants and everything, and right now I am covering a 1.5 FTE. With school starting on next Thursday in Alberton and then 2 weeks after that for St. Regis, I just can't do it anymore. So what I'd like to do is 24 hours is what I need. I feel like 24 is going to be the minimum to get the stuff accomplished for that 37-hour position.
You're still kind of donating some time, but
I think so.
When I went down and visited Jen,
I don't want to admit it.
some of the work that she says has to be done is required by state statute. Some of those reportable. You gave me that chart.
So right now, so they have the assistant biller where you requested, they have the Superior School where you requested, but then for the Alberton, St. Regis, and the director, that's at full time, and they have it at 0.75. So they're 0.25 FTE off, or 10 hours, or about $13,000. So that's what That's where they're at, so you're 10 hours short. Would you hire a new nurse?
I'm going to have to at this point.
So you would hire a new nurse, and then that new nurse,
Would be paid by the contract.
And what we had talked about is once I know how much
Not
time
always.
we have from general fund, then I can put all of our programs on the table and figure out how we can work this best. But my initial thought is to hire a part-time nurse who will do Superior or St. Regis and Alberton schools and probably some WIC right now until they get fully trained, and then so it'll just be part-time, so no benefits or anything like that.
And all those that you described would be funded by the school and WIC.
Yeah.
unless, so in other words, they would take the summers off then, or whatever. Because like, for example, like with Barb, and how you work prior to this, or whatever, is, you know, the nurses, they work year-round, but they're only paid by the school for 9 months.
Right.
And then the general fund picks up 3 months of their payroll. So that's what I mean, if, that would be great if you, and that's what we've asked Peggy about in the past. We said, well, why don't you hire more of a part-time nurse? And I guess they just couldn't be found at the time. But you're thinking maybe you could. It seems like who wouldn't want their summers off and just work?
No kidding.
I don't know.
I think
Yeah.
that it makes me really nervous to try to put out an advertisement for the perfect person, but maybe that person's there. I'm fully anticipating to just buckle down and do everything that needs to be done until we find somebody, but it's not going to last for very long. So I think that for this position, we could advertise it as whatever we want. So, you know,
So it's
during the school
100.
year, you're 16 hours in the schools, your WIC during this time, and then we'd figure out the summer stuff. If that's what we wanted to do, if we didn't want to pay for that person's 3 months through the summertime. So that's fine. We'll just,
I wouldn't think so, because you're going to be in the office, and Barb would be in the office in the summer. So I don't think you would need a third person.
yeah, probably not. We need 2 nurses though. Otherwise, one of us can never
Leave
go
or
anywhere or be
yeah.
sick or anything.
Yeah.
You never say.
And they
Never
spend
seen
20.
You're nursing.
They spend
We wash our hands.
like St. Regis and Alberton. They spend 24 hours. Well, never mind. How during this school year? How many hours are they at the school?
Superior contracted is 28, so Barb does 3.5 days there, and then in St. Regis and Alberton it's 8 per school.
So 16 a week.
So it's a full FTE in the summertime that the county picks up for those summer hours.
It's always quiet, but unless everybody's screaming.
That was the quietest I've heard in some time.
Sometimes there's that.
Is that? Do you need anything else from Jen?
When I went down there, I understood it. I just don't know how to re-explain it all, so that's why I thought if she was here to help answer the other questions in front of
Does what
everybody
I
else. But
said make sense?
yeah. Huh?
Does what I said make sense? Yeah.
And we think you have a wonderful health department, and we're behind you. We're always looking for money.
Yeah. No, we get it. We really do get it, and we're trying to be super reasonable
Yeah,
about
and
it.
I know
so.
that you guys busted your butts to make it workable.
Yeah. Yeah, we are.
And we don't expect you to do it for free and do it forever, and we appreciate what you do it.
Yeah. It's good stuff. I also don't necessarily need this raise, the 30 cent. I don't need that. That's not like a thing that I have to have. So that can go back, or that can be distributed among my people or something like that. I don't need that. But I just want I want enough time to be able to do the job.
It's a job.
You know what I mean?
Well, and you've got a family. I mean, you can't.
Yeah, the little
You
guy,
know.
he's kind of a wild man. I have broken bones
He'll
in
get
my
worse.
future. I know. So I guess just so I'm understanding, we're 10 hours short from what? From what I've requested? Or I'm not understanding.
You're 10 hours short right
What am
now.
I
So-
walking away with?
When I look at that
They
budget,
don't know yet.
That
It's not done.
budget that she
That's not what I meant.
compiled there that you're looking at, it's still with you at 14, not
Okay.
24. So that's why I
Okay.
wanted to come down, because if you can persuade everybody here, then we have to bump that up.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and so you're at 101 and you wanted to be at about 112,000.
Mm-hmm.
So
But
that's where it is.
yeah, and so with like spend downs of our other grants, we're looking at places that we can pull more hours from while we have the money. So it's not exactly that amount, you know what I mean? So I'd have to really sit down with the budget and figure out exactly how much, if you want it down to the,
Then
To
that's
the
whatever.
I don't think so. I mean, if you need
Okay.
more hours and if you plug it in, it comes out to about 112. So it's about right.
okay, yeah.
And you need 10 more hours at. Yeah. That's right.
I'd like to give an hour or two to Barb every week from the general fund to do some of these immunizations and communicable diseases as well. Because if I'm, in the meantime, while I'm in the schools, I'm not going to be able to do 100% of all that stuff. So, and that's not in addition to the 24, that would be some of those 24. So between
Are you
the
saying
two
that
of
you
us.
were not able to find a part-time nurse, or even if you were able to find a part-time nurse? That would be the situation.
Both. I need her to have like 2 hours a week to be able to contribute to those things, because one person can't get all that stuff done unless I'm in the office 100% of the time. I realize this is kind of confusing and abstract, but in my mind, if I have 2 hours of those 24 that I'm requesting, or whatever shakes out from this 112, or whatever you can give me, then I can rework some of her other duties and stuff. So
It may be a little more than the 112. Because on the worksheet for 112, it still has Jen's old rate. Barb's rate's right, but Jen's rate is wrong. So if you add another dollar in, it's another $2,080. They would have to.
sorry.
Do you have anything else for Jen? Because she has to probably go, and while
Yeah.
you guys sit here and think she can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how you keep the turkey in suspense? I'll tell you next week.
Yeah. Well, just be in touch if you have any other questions, things like that. What is the plan? The 8th, there are meetings or something like that? I just want to make sure to put you in my calendar so I'm not double booking.
Yeah. So September 1st is pretty much our next budget meeting, which would be our final budget meeting. And then
Okay.
September 8th, they approve the budget.
Okay.
I would think we're going to have a really good sense by the end of today on where everybody will be, though.
So should I plan some time on September 1st to be here?
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sooner rather than later, because that day is filling up. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you like
I mean,
this
we'll see.
back?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see how today goes.
Okay.
But
Sure. Thank you. Well, good luck, guys. And thank you. Thanks for
Sure you don't
your
want to stick around?
work. Oh, I'd love to. It's nice and AC in here, but I have to fly.
All right.
All right.
See ya. Thank you.
Bye.
you guys.
Not helping go towards 45,000, but if we gave that to her, we have it available in the library and the fair with their overages right there, easy, but,
That's 16,000.
yeah.
I think you guys,
And you think her increase would be about 12, 13?
well, a little more, because I was going off of that, but the spreadsheet that they have has the wrong rate for one of them. So it's gonna be more like 15, because if we need another 10 hours, let's see here. Oh, jeez. Okay, we need another 10 hours times 52 times 28, 14,560.
And her 30 cents that she's waiting won't make a dent in that, will it?
And that doesn't include taxes. So maybe times.
I just get the feeling that Jen was kind of donating a lot of her time
Oh, I'm sure she's
to
doing
keep
all
the
that.
health
she
department
is.
going
Yeah.
for Peggy's absence, and
I
so
know she is.
Yeah, I'm sure she probably is.
Yeah, I mean, great person, super hard worker. I mean,
Yeah, and a good
It's-
fit there and a good personality.
yeah.
All the government mandates and requirements and all.
16,000, closer to 16,000 to
There
cover
goes,
everything.
there goes the,
Yeah. But, I mean, you have to take, that's what you're gonna have to do.
oh,
Take-
I know, but I was sitting there thinking, oh, we could apply that towards this 45,000 reserve, but there it went. I mean, there it goes,
Yes.
right there.
Yes. What else do we have, you guys? I don't know how I can steer you. Maybe you guys, off the top, we could look at the fair in the library, just to,
Well, didn't we told the fair to work off of $25,000, just hypothetically, when they were in here?
Yeah, we did.
yeah,
When we had that first meeting, when they weren't gonna have us there.
yeah.
And so they did it for 30,000.
33.
Well-
More than what they,
Well, that's what they want.
That's what they want for this.
well, yeah.
They did it for
They did it for
30,772,
31,
didn't?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should just let theirs be an even
No, that's
30.
the prior year budget, see what they actually spent, you guys.
Oh,
So you could go to these,
that's what they,
there, 2160. So the fair, page 13.
Yeah.
So the prior year budget was 33,000.
What was?
Oh no, prior year budget was 30,772.
33,849.
And their actual expenditures were 33,849. So they over budget.
So this last fair cost them 33,196. Right?
No,
No?
the last fair, here's the actuals.
oh,
Here's 16, 17. So the last year, they actually spent 33,849.
Oh, okay.
so, and here's the other years.
39, 30, yeah.
And then, so now this is what they're asking. Since they ended up spending that, they're asking for that. For the coming up 17-18 year. I think we should just give them an even 31. That's only 2,000 less than what they're requesting.
About an even 30.
Yeah.
We told them 25.
Okay, yeah, overruled.
So 30?
30,000 even. Yeah.
I think what I'll do is I think I'll call the fair and then say, this is what the commissioners have approved, how would you like me to adjust it? So they can have the say on the line item,
Mhm.
which I think,
That's a good idea.
Well, and you know, they still haven't implemented those revenue ideas that I suggested to them, you know, just little, you know,
Yes.
little advertising
you could
signs
do-
in the area, you know.
You could
We
easily get
support
$3,000
the fair,
or $4,000.
the Grisham family, you know, and let us
Yes.
pay $100 a year
Yeah,
for
let's-
it.
Oh, it's excellent,
Say
yeah.
Regis baseball.
Yeah,
did it.
yeah.
I mean,
They
it's-
probably get
been around
$2,000
forever.
at
Yeah.
least now. Has to be 20 signs,
yeah,
maybe
That'd be-
3,000.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's look at library then. Let's look at it. 2220,
And that's page,
17. So last year they spent 61,913. Their budget last year was 63,492. And they're asking for 77,684.
so in 16-17, they actually spent 63,490, 452 or 492.
61.
61,913.
913?
What
Oh.
they spent last year. Their budget was 63,492.
Oh, okay. Wonder what their increase is all about.
Well, let's see, it's supplies.
Library books, you got $5,000.
Yeah, library books are up, supplies are up.
So you give them 65 and let them make more.
Hmm? 65,000?
yeah.
And then Jessica
Yes.
is bound to come up and they're gonna ask us, what are we doing about you? How many hours do we have you at? Which, are we on the, it's not, we don't have you in this spreadsheet here, do we?
That's
Come on.
on consulting
No.
services, I
No.
think.
So you have, it's about 300 hours a year. Let's divide that by, I don't know, 5 hours a week,
5 hours a week?
but it won't, it's not weekly, it's not how it works, it's like in big
Right,
chunks. you
right.
know? So that's what you
Budget
have.
time,
It's
audit
up to,
time.
it's up to, and it's just based on how long I'm here. Anything over $20,000. So you guys are budgeted up to $20,000 for me
Mhm.
right now.
5 hours a week times 300, or times 52 weeks.
I thought we were at 25.
20. I don't know what the other,
Yeah, I don't know, the consultant services, is that under the commissioners, is that what yours is?
yeah, the contract is 20,000. I don't know what else you have in there.
Yeah,
Casey,
no
do you
idea.
know?
I don't. I can look.
Let's see.
Under the commissioners for consultants.
Yeah, under
Oh.
commissioners, it
Well, I
says
know at one time it
consultants,
used to be like
consultant
Noel
services.
Williams was Title III consultant, you know, he handled
Could
that.
it be your union, or is that legal? That'd be
No, that
legal.
should be legal.
That should be legal.
Okay, maybe we could cut that.
What else would be a consultant?
I don't know what we would have consulting for.
Like I say, that used, you know, Noel used to be a consultant.
Oh,
We
yeah.
cut that, and thought
I
we-
guess we could see what we spent it on last year.
What are the expenses under that currently?
Well, maybe we should change that to 20. That would help.
Yeah, that would be 5, that's, because that's what we're paying you out of currently, and we have it at 20.
Yeah. Yeah,
We could change that to 20 instead of 25.
yeah.
Unless there's something there that,
Well, we probably did pay her that before because we needed her so badly.
yeah, I think that's what it was. Was it 25 at first?
I guess I could ask Nicole
Possibly.
to look it up real quick and see.
I thought it was 25 last year and.
I'll just make sure that you're the one that.
Well, it was really just as needed.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was just an hourly rate, but now we
Right.
put the cap on it. So, and I don't even know
Do
if
you
we'll
think-
need that much.
I was gonna say, do you think?
I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
necessarily.
well, it's hard to, yeah, but it seems like you're always finding something that,
Not so much, you guys. Like, but, I mean, budgets alone are, I don't
Well,
know,
that's it.
25% of what I
Yeah.
spent last year?
And then when it comes audit time, then you're busy then.
Which is coming up,
Yeah,
because I have them
right.
coming in November.
Yeah.
So I have to prep for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think I'll see you guys much, which is good. So I don't, I mean,
hopefully it's,
maybe it would be even less than that.
But you never know. I mean, that,
But I think you could, I mean, obviously
that
it could
5
be
would be a
20.
good place to start,
I
yeah.
think so too. So let's do that.
Hopefully we don't have to scramble and put them back in. I think
I can't
things
think of
are-
why you would.
No, I
mean,
think you got,
Yeah.
I think we eliminated part of the problem there.
So we did library at 65, right? Let's see.
And I think we're being pretty generous there, don't you?
I can look at the sheriff's on
Yeah. I'll tell you, that's gonna be a tough one though, Laura. You ain't just gonna throw that out there. I don't think. I think he has a lot of support. I'm not saying that can't be done.
Okay, so
Nor
we're
am I
at
saying nothing
20,000. Roughly 25,000 more.
That should be.
With a budget of 2.6 million, you think it would be? Really?
Could you call Willie Peck? He was wanting to know what we needed to run the county,
Like our total budget?
like what our total budget would be. Do you have his phone number?
I do.
Okay. Anyway, he was just,
You just wanted some information.
yep, just some information on what we need to run the county.
Well, if something's not jiving, maybe you can make head or tail of this, Jessica Wabbit. Because actually last year we paid you 38,000. So 616, 717 are commissioners, consultants, and theirs. And it's all you except for this 91 and this 662. But that does, so how can we have that? And then this consultant one here doesn't even match that. It says 25. What is that? How come it's not jiving? 40,000?
For the wrong time period? You want to run it from, the period's wrong, so you'd start July of 17 to June of,
Oh, okay. That was the previous year when we moved you badly then.
yeah, it's just the wrong
Oh, gotcha.
time period. So have it rerun it, and it has to tie, and it's all from the same system. So
Okay.
it should be 7/16, but you would want to have her run it through month 13/17, because there could be some year-end adjustments that are done in that month. So that would be your fiscal year, and that's going to tie to that. But you do get, but there was some people poke.
Yeah, because
Coding some stuff.
I thought he was paid more than that. He must have come out of some other fund.
Yeah, I think whoever did that claim.
Put it in the wrong. So what's 1317? What do you mean by 1317?
So 13/17, when I make year-end adjustments, let's say let's say I'm gonna record some accounts payable or some accounts receivable for the year end. I'm preparing for the financial statements. In Black Mountain, they have a special month to do that, and it's called month 13.
Oh,
It's like just an accounting month.
okay.
But now that we're looking at year end, and Nick knows this, is that whenever anybody asks for a report for last year, they need to run it through month 13/17.
Okay.
Because
So
I
she
don't
does.
think I did any adjustments here, but you don't know. Like, I could have reviewed this and, like I did a whole bunch in public safety where there was miscoding.
Oh,
Like, you know, there was uniform allowances weren't there. They were all coded under 110.
oh.
That's in month 13 that I fixed it.
So I should have her run 7/16 to 13/17 and we'll be able to find out if
Then
this
that will
matches.
type.
Okay.
Then it will type.
How come my checkbook doesn't have something like that?
Just that month 13. Magic month.
Oh, yeah.
Where all the fixing
Yeah,
takes
I'll
place.
have more money next time. You know,
Yeah.
somebody told me one time, maybe it was Tim, I don't remember. Somebody, you know, how all the property lines in St. Regis are screwed up.
Yes.
You know, always have been.
Yeah.
And, you know, the Frosty, they used to call it Walt Dairy Farm, Walt Rob used to own it.
Okay.
And
So,
so it used to sit down across the street from Schroeder's, about where the truck turnaround is.
Yeah. Yep.
And they made them move it because that's on state
Oh.
right away.
gotcha. Oh, thank you. That's right.
Raised it, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they made them move it down to where the Frosty is now. And then Walt sold it to Rick and he opened one in Pleasant. But, they used to tell me that that's when they first started finding out all the property lines were way off. And used to be an old railroad bed that went through there to the sawmill. There used to be another railroad line that ran right up the street. They started looking and, I mean, my place has been out there at the end of my driveway between me and the telephone building. I think it's been surveyed.
And they still don't really have the confidence
10
on.
times, you know,
Really?
that I know of.
Yeah.
And the school paid for it once, somebody else paid for it once, and it's been just all over the place. But they told me that that lot between Schroeder's and where Kay
Yes.
Moore's mom,
Yes.
that was the adjustment. That's kind of like month 13.
Yes, I think so. Like, 'cause Judy has tried to talk about selling Kay Moore's house, but
Yeah.
that's a
yeah,
bad one.
yeah.
Because it's like all
Yeah.
fixed right there.
Yeah.
And yeah. Did it
You're
tie,
pick-
Roman?
Okay, Casey,
did that time.
Casey was overhearing and she was doing, yeah. So, and then the other thing that I was confused about was why was this Crowley Flex showing up here? And she explained that that was a miscoding and he normally is in legal services.
Yep, yeah.
So legal services is Crowley, consultant services is you.
Yep, that's how I see it too.
Okay,
So
we could shave off 5,000 like you said.
we already did.
You did, and then, but go up to legal services, can we shave anything off of him? Because what we actually spent on him was only what, well, I guess we kinda need a little buffer in case we don't just need him, we need some other lawyer.
Boy, that is quite a bit of a buffer though.
Yeah.
How much?
Well, you're budgeting 40 and last year you spent 15.
And that was during this hard strike time, normally we only do 10 or 13, so we could shave off there. Thanks, Casey.
flipped the months around.
Oh, she figured that out, okay.
Just hypothetical though, what if you do need it for it?
You have to do a budget amendment.
So, but that isn't impossible.
No.
So why don't we save some there too?
Okay.
And so make it be what, 30 instead of 40? Or what, 28? I don't know, what do you think? Because we only,
Make it
during the
30.
strike year, we
So
spent
Make it 30, that'll still leave you a
30,
little wiggle
okay.
room.
Okay.
30, okay, so that saves 10 there.
Yeah, about the time we think that we got them whipped in and shaved, they'll surprise you.
Yeah. 15,000 to go.
That's what we need.
15,000 to go.
I
All
think
right.
if we take all that out of Kathleen's supplies.
She's just not even
No, she's not even
She's busy.
ignoring you.
She's on her patchwork website selling blankets and shit. Oh, I got her attention.
Oh. She's not grinning either. I said we could easily take 15,000 out of
Listen,
your
I'm
supply.
having trouble searching for appeals, so
For what? Is that one of those things you
Potato
crochet
peels?
with? Is that those little sticks you use?
Uphill.
Oh, up here.
An apple peel?
Okay.
Okay, and so that, yeah, that's,
Down to 15 now.
what other large disparity do we have we could tear down? We've got that office machine rental, Casey, that's needed, right? That's that big ass printer or copier.
There's, Go to page 24. Do you see, under care of prisoners, object code 225?
Yeah.
Inmate housing?
booking
What is that?
Or housing?
So we have 4,000 budgeted, but nothing's been spent for 3 years.
Oh, I bet, I'm gonna take a stab
What
in the
is
dark,
it?
but I bet you that is when we have a juvenile that we
24.
can't, that we're not able to hold in our jail, they have to go to special like Missoula
And just
County.
budgeting for it, just in case.
In case,
You have
yeah.
to transport them, yeah. And then I suppose you have to pay for the,
Well, that's what that's
for
for.
the housing, huh?
Paying for the juvenile to be in the Missoula or the Kalispell juvenile jail, because they can't stay in ours.
All of our juveniles have been so good, we haven't had any.
Good. Is that sarcasm? Oh, I was.
And then the
we'd have
train,
never guessed.
and then the transportation of
It's been
prisoner would be
hot,
like,
they've been good, whatever.
when we had to bring back that guy from the murderer from Idaho or whatever. He killed somebody here and then got caught in Idaho. And the deputy had to get on the plane and fly him back. But we could do a budget amendment for those rare things too. It's $7,000. Hasn't been used only one time in the last 4 years.
What was that?
The transportation of prisoner 311.
Sounds good to me. Sure they wouldn't like it. It'd make everybody happy.
Well, it's just so rare that that happens.
Yeah.
But I think that might have been the Mercio girls.
Oh,
Uh,
oh, sure. Yeah, they had to go to Nevada.
yeah,
Do we pay for autopsies?
yeah.
Why? I mean, how?
Not every time, but just
So somebody, how does that work? Why do we do that?
where is that one? How much money was it on? It?
Page 23, object 353. So if somebody dies and they're questioning the death, then we pay for, how,
Yeah. So if somebody was found under a bridge dead, then we have to do an autopsy. Find out if he was strangled or had a heart attack or.
And we probably used that a couple times.
mm-hmm. I see. Especially when it's already, pretty well
Yeah. Just like
conservative.
We
Yeah,
haven't
it's not
had
like there's a
this
bunch of
before, yeah.
fluff in there.
Yeah.
We should be about done on our training, shouldn't we?
Or,
Are you in the general fund?
No, on public safety.
She specifically said they have to send a bunch of people to training. I remember her talking about it.
Especially if they're down to only 2 jailers, well, a bunch of jailers to send.
All those guys, yeah.
Yeah, they're only gonna have
Well,
3.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just looking at, we just did a bill for
How are they
Boone and
That's what I
somebody
was
to go to.
wondering.
How are they
Dispatch
functioning?
training?
Detention.
Or intention.
Detention
No,
they
But
have.
isn't dispatch?
Yeah, but they don't need-
Also-
So,
Yeah, so dispatch is supposed to have 5 and they have,
Maybe we need to.
Well, if
3.
I see him tonight, I'll have to ask
and
him
detention
whether
is
they're
supposed to
going
have
Florida for.
6 and they have 4.
That's what we're talking.
Is that what they're doing?
Oh, I'm sure. Be my guess. I know I'll work a lot more hours when I'm getting that.
Yeah, that time and a half. I guess I would be curious, right? So if we haven't had 6 detention officers for, I don't know, an entire year, do they need 6? I don't know.
Yeah. So how are they doing?
I don't.
Let's look at,
I don't know. Maybe one of the deputies need to go in there and be a detention officer for a while instead of
well, maybe that's what they're doing.
sitting out at People's Beach.
Yeah.
Sitting out at fire camp. Nope. Did I say that?
Let me, I can go run some numbers on that if you guys want. We could look at the overtime paid last year in that department or something, if you're interested.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because what was they almost, what was it, $26,000 or something over in just, I mean, they were over budget and it was in salaries. And I think it was because of all the overtime that we had to
So
pay.
were they over budget last year? That's what you remember?
In public
26,000.
safety, just in total?
Yeah.
No. So in total,
I thought they were.
so their total budget in public safety was 888,000, and they spent 877,000. So they were 11,000 under. Page 25.
Oh, the other
You guys,
question.
okay.
Okay, but that is with public safety and care prisoners combined.
That's the fund.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're looking at them, if you're just looking at the care prisoners, you are correct.
Right. But the public
No.
safety itself was over.
Care, oh, you're looking at care prisoners, the. So care prisoners, the total budget for that account was 343, and they spent 305.
Is public safety by itself?
No, that's just like care prisoners, the account within that fund.
Yeah. So the other part, public safety without the sheriff prisoners.
It's your law enforcement was over.
Right.
2,300, right,
Yeah.
was 44 and they spent 571.
For the law enforcement, which is, would be the dispatch and deputies.
So almost
and that-
30,000
And that
over.
was it was all in salaries.
Yeah.
But that's not, I mean, that's another position.
And that's dispatch. Detention still came in under by 30,000.
It was dispatch and deputies.
Went over on salaries.
Yeah. So, do you want me to go run some detention figures? To see,
See if they need 6.
yeah, I guess if they're not working tons and tons of overtime. I mean, we always,
Look at this right here.
Is that detention?
Well, well, and then it's fire.
Hopefully we'll get reimbursed for all of it. I'm
Deputy
hoping.
fire pay.
I think that we need to make it perfectly clear to him that, yeah, that stuff needs to be filed, because to me, if he's not taking care of that, someone within the
Well, I
sheriff's
think
office is not taking care
We
of that.
need to keep track
Ain't gonna
of
put
what
us
it
on
is, and so that when we get reimbursed, that it's all gets reimbursed.
Yeah.
Ronnie was in there when I was there. I should have asked her. If she's still there, I guess we can ask her if the fire paperwork's been
Hey,
taken care of.
You
you're
may-
with Gino.
You may, if you really want to make sure it's done, you may want to have Nick track it or do something. And then we can, make sure that, that it's done. Because otherwise you'll never know, really.
Right.
Yeah.
So my other
So you
question,
could do
this
that.
budget you've got inputted,
Yes.
on top of the 30-cent raise and all that, does it also have inserted back in there Kathleen's $2,000?
Yes.
It does. Okay. Did you hear that, Patchwork?
What was that?
Your 2,000 was inserted back in
It
this
has
budget.
all of those recommendations. It has all of the recommendations from the salary board except for the 1% longevity.
Okay.
So it
All right.
has Dale at 500,
Okay.
commissioners,
Okay,
all of that.
all right. Very good.
And what's the difference between longevity and just a regular pay raise as far as,
I don't find any, and the way that this county does it, there is hardly any difference whatsoever.
I mean, does it benefit?
Retirement,
Yeah, I know that it's going to actually hurt Jamie
Because it's not part of your base.
percentage
Yeah.
wise as far as that goes for a deputy. But does it have any other effect on anything else?
I don't think so. I think just on the deputy's calculation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're giving it to him on a, they're giving you money that the deputy doesn't get to capitalize on.
Right.
But other than that, I mean, it really is just a straight percentage, just.
It's just figured separately. Okay.
So if anything, it seems like you would want to always not do the longevity. If you wanted to help out the non-elected, right? You'd want to have it in just your cost of living, so it's part of your base.
Mhm.
so, what have we saved now, 15 or,
You are down to 15,000.
what do you think?
Well,
If we,
we're half
what do you
that
think if we did the 7,000 for out-of-state prisoner transportation and then just waited to see if we needed a budget amendment?
I think that's fine, but let's say you do need a budget amendment, what's gonna happen to cash reserves,
You're gonna pull it right out of there.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're not making headway then.
Well, what's his supply budget look like? Ooh, there's, we gonna make.
There isn't though, maybe
I
a couple
know.
thousand is what I saw. A couple thousand maybe.
Well, we'll take a couple thousand.
And that was only on the care of prisoners supplies. It was on page 24. Object code 210 under care of prisoners. But the other supplies I thought was, I guess you could still do that, I guess. Maybe supplies on both, really. Because they have that other money to buy stuff with, right? That equitable sharing program. Do you want me to look at detention people?
Sure.
Sure.
All right. And then we should look at, we still have to look at the union negotiations,
Yeah.
how we're budgeting. Oh, 3.
We got till 4.
We do that?
We're going down to the Sin City Bar and taking it down there.
Yep.
Let's go.
Been many Many a budget settled down there.
Just like the Fish Creek interchange was settled over a bottle of bourbon down at Chet's bar.
Probably was.
Yeah.
So detention, with overtime, regular hours, vacation, sick, they had total of 12,487 hours, which is 5.9999 FTE. So, in other words,
They do need 6.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
or at least they're still scheduling
Mhm.
that way. And then they had 971 hours of overtime.
What'd that come out?
I don't know.
Well,
$15
One.
an hour times that.
one full-time person, I'm sure.
Yeah, let's say, it's not 15, let's say, what are they, like 1055? We'll use a 1066. $10,351.
That's a month. But a half time.
Yep.
So, I was looking on page 23, which is the law enforcement one, and Jessica, look at their supplies. I have no idea why that one year was so inflated at 53.
Well, that's because they put everything in there. They had
They must have bought a
car
car and
maintenance
everything.
and everything.
And the
else.
same year, they also put everything in vehicle maintenance. Look at that, it was 91,000 for vehicle maintenance, the same year. But anyway, the long and short of it is that they only spent 12 and they have it at 20. Could we shave that down to 15 or something?
Sure. Well, I mean, you guys can do whatever you want to do. But they do have that money in that equitable sharing program
Mm-hmm.
to help with supplies and,
Mm-hmm.
you guys want to do that?
Yeah, so say 5,000 there.
Okay.
We're down to 10, right?
Yep.
And then the other one was on page 24 of 26, and again on the supply line for the jail care of prisoners. Now, did they actually, what did they actually spend last year there? Just
8,656.
I wonder why that was higher than other years, which are about 6,000.
We moved. The reason why it's 11,000
Mm-hmm.
is you notice the inmate supplies have been rolled up just to supplies. We,
Oh, you combine.
Ronnie, yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Because, yeah, so that's why.
Oh, okay.
But even still, combined, well, yeah. Last year it was low, but in previous years, if you're combining 210 and 211,
Yeah.
11,000 isn't,
Okay. Yeah. Now that it's combined, that's about right, I suppose. Gosh, look at the previous inmate meals were 35, 32.
Well, she never raised them for,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but she didn't double them.
But we've had more inmates
Yeah.
than what we've had.
shit, those years after that breakout when we didn't get any federal inmates. Well, there wasn't anybody in that
Mhm.
yet.
So then we're on those two lines that happen in rarities, and like you gave me the example that, well, then you have to dip into your reserve, but we got two in a row categories that are used rarely.
okay.
Do you think we could take one of them and gamble? Not both of them, but one of them?
Okay.
So why were they so over on travel?
I vote we take 311 then. Is that one of them you're talking about?
Yeah. There's inmate housing for like juveniles, and there's transportation of prisoners for like the murder in Nevada. And maybe we could
Do you
even
want to just cut them both in half?
we could, or we could just
Yeah.
take 5,000 from the one. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so really, where are you gonna go that will cost you more than several $1,000s to transport something?
Yeah. Well, the thing is that I don't know how many deputies they sent, but they got their meals and their motels and then
Yeah,
the airplane
but I mean,
tickets.
Let me ask you this,
Even
like,
at that,
wouldn't you, at some point, you would say, well, can't you just like leave them there and not pick them up and say, well, you guys
But-
do whatever you want?
Because I remember on this one, they
What?
sent 2 deputies. One was Adam Cole, because he was involved, and then the other one was Pandas. I don't know why they
But
sent
my
them
question
both.
is, what is the benefit to the county? What is the benefit to bring a criminal back to the county, to spend $7,000 to bring him back?
but that one was a murderer that
You have to bring them back for trial where the
Yeah.
where the crime
they had
occurred.
to come
Oh,
back in.
otherwise, because I know that there's something that, you know,
Extradition.
yeah, where they can
So-
just
Yeah.
prosecute him there or whatever, so.
So if your kid was killed here and the murderer ran to Nevada, where would you rather have him tried at, here or in Nevada?
I guess, yeah.
Well, and I think that you have to try and where it takes place.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. Unless there's other
And
murder
how-
charges.
Unless it was like on federal,
And how
like
did-
the one in Glacier Park, and they picked some federal.
How do they fight that extradition then when they refuse, when the prisoner refuses extradition?
And there's a process that they can
They can still do it.
Still do it if they
It takes more
So do we
time.
want to cut them in half? Is that where we're at?
Okay.
Cut them each in
Okay.
half?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or do you have something else in mind?
that'll work. Then there's still a little bit in each fund, I guess.
So how much are you doing?
So the one will be 2,000 instead of 4, and the other one will be 3,500 instead
Okay.
of 7.
So we're doing 5,500.
Yeah.
About 4,000 more, you guys. Also, look at page, on this payroll spreadsheet,
Mhm.
look at page 2. So for union negotiations, I didn't really know what to do. So most of these, I just built in a 30-cent raise. Like, you'll see there's a couple dispatchers under the sheriff deputy dispatcher, and then the rest are under that 911.
Mhm.
So, you know, for example, I just built in their current raise, which, you know, would give them 55 cents after 6 months. And if they're already at the top max, I gave them a 30-cent increase, because that's what the rest of our employees are getting. According to the union, once you get to the over a year, it's just 1131. It's
Mhm.
not, you've been here 25 years, it doesn't say anything.
Mhm.
It doesn't address anything. It's just over 1 year, that's your rate.
Right.
So I added a 30-cent increase to them. I don't know. It's super convoluted. I could take all of that out, and I could just do a simple negotiation amount. This is what you have to negotiate. Or we can leave it like that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, just pull it all out and say, we have $5,000 or $10,000 or...
What's easier to you,
Well,
for
if
you
there's
to
only
work
2
with? though?
detention officers in there anyway, it's.
Well, and then they start over new, right? So right now, so I'm budgeting for everybody, assuming they've been there 6 months. But the reality is, you're not gonna hire some, so they're still gonna be at that lower rate. So there is money
gonna be
built in.
Right.
And one of them is already leaving, so that person would start over as new.
Yeah, so
So I can do it.
so how am I to understand it? Like, so explain to me the detention officer that is at 1066 there, and then it goes 65 for an increase. What's that?
So that's according to the current union contract. So that person currently has 6 months, at least as of July 1st, right?
Okay.
Is there
The one that got
1066?
55.
Okay.
And according to the union, the current union agreement, after 1 year, they go to 1131.
Oh,
So that's based on the. So I did everything I could based on the union agreement,
Mhm.
but after they've gotten to a year, the union agreement doesn't give any guidance.
mm-hmm.
It's nothing. So then I just did 30 cents. because that's what everybody else has.
Mhm.
It's a good thing.
So I,
That time.
yeah, so I think that's how I did it. So I think what we can do, how far along are you with negotiations?
Nothing, I got sent an email today saying we finally got our valuation, we can finally meet, but before we were just, we didn't
Sure.
know what we had.
Sure,
Yeah, maybe we tell Dan that
yeah.
the bad news or good news, whatever.
Mhm.
Right, how little money.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I could sure do it different, Roman. I could just use everybody's current rate,
Mhm.
but they change it like in 6 months. For the first,
Yeah.
6 months in a year. So, but I could use their current rate and then build in something
Mhm.
if that would be easier. So you just have like a kind of a
Mhm.
dollar amount.
Okay.
Or we can just take this and you could add up all of the people that are in that union
Mhm.
and say this is the total amount I have to work with.
Mhm. Yeah, that'd be fine, because then it's giving them a little bit of say in how they want to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's negotiating.
Yeah.
They won't get sued for not
Right, yeah.
negotiating.
This is what we have, you guys break it down, and then they give it back to us, and if I just give them, oh, this is all we got, and this is what you're getting, then they go, you're not negotiating. That's kind of what the problem was last time.
I see.
So, back to the other $4,000 here, just a thought, is that what we're?
Yeah.
Now we're down to 4,000?
Yeah,
Oh,
so we have how many departments?
Depends. In the
I mean,
general
not-
fund,
Yeah, not counting the sheriffs, because we just nailed them.
just in the general fund.
mm.
Yeah. I'd
So did we
let's-
take
what if we
some
divvied
out of
that up
supplies out of
amongst
sheriff's
each
reserve?
Probably
department?
good.
It's all good.
No, because the other line below it was already
Supplies.
Xed out to combine with it.
1, 2,
They're combined now instead of
3,
a supply.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. $10 in the general fund.
So we ought to be able to do that without too much money in it.
What was your idea, Dwayne?
Just take that $4,000 and split it up amongst the 10 departments.
In the general fund. And
And-
supplies.
Supplies.
Okay.
Certainly that isn't going to kill anyone, although we may hear different. Unless somebody's got a better idea. That was easier than 80,000, yes.
Yeah, it was. Can't imagine.
Oh.
That would have been horrible.
No, there would have been somebody going, oh.
And so the amount saved with the fair being an even number of 30 and the library an even number of 65, that savings is gonna, are we shifting that to the health department?
It all just moves around, but yeah. We made
I'm just
additional
verbalizing that out
cuts to
loud, so all
allow.
three of us say, is that what we wanna do? We're agreeing to it?
Yes, is that what you're saying? I
Yeah,
guess
that's
you.
what I'm
I
kinda
guess you.
asking.
I guess you need to say that, right? Otherwise it's
I
just
mean,
a
so
cut,
we're-
but you
so
want
it's not
to.
assumed, I mean, is that what we're going to do with that money that is being saved from that cut?
You guys.
That's fine with me. I mean, it doesn't really matter where it comes from, does it?
No, but I think. I see what Roman's saying. We've done all these cuts, but did you guys really approve the increase in the health department?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yes.
most
Yes.
definitely,
Okay.
yeah.
So we did a $15,000 increase. It might not work out exactly, but that's what we did.
Mhm.
So. I think we did it. Good, so,
It was easier than last year.
oh, yes.
It's not
You-
over though.
You kept my
I'll
attention.
tell you, it's not over.
What do you mean?
Well,
Bitching and moaning?
I'm sure we'll have the library in here and we'll have,
Well,
Oh,
You know what?
the fair and.
you know what I think though? I mean, I think that they've got to realize, just like we come to realize, essential services. And, you know, there isn't a thing in the world that says we have to fund that.
they need to get some
Fair at all.
donations then, I
Yeah.
think.
There isn't a thing in the world that says we have to fund that
Well,
library.
I'm ready to buy one of those signs as soon as they start offering them up.
Yeah, yeah. I would donate.
Yeah,
Nobody ever came and asked me.
yeah. And I think they could even charge more than I think they could charge 150 and get away with it.
And I
where-
don't have a thing against fair. I think
Yeah.
it's nice and it's great
Yeah.
for the county and it's great for the community, but, you know,
Okay,
that's what it is. It is what it is.
yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So, good. So our next meeting is September 1st. Do you have it on there already?
Yes,
Okay. What time?
9 a.m.
Okay. So September 1st, pretty much that's going to be the final, and then we'll approve the budget on September 8th. You have that one too?
Yep.
Good catch.
Okay, so we need to, who's going to convention? Are you going to convention?
I thought I would, but if we're out of money, I'll let you go.
When is it?
September
But I can just go to the winter one.
20th. 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th.
That's my birthday. I can't go to convention on my birthday for crying out loud. Oh, in case anybody wanted to
Well,
know
no,
when my
I
birthday
mean,
is.
we've got it in there to both of us go.
Well, maybe I'll wait September and just go winter. Save a little money and you can go to the September
Well, you
one.
gotta take lots of notes. Come back really enthusiastic. And bring us lots of treats.
Did you already register
Where's
anybody?
it at? Is it in Helena?
Bozeman.
Again?
Bozeman.
Oh, I don't want to go to Bozeman. Well, I want to go to Bozeman.
Because, that would save motel room, meals and travel.
Yeah.
And I'll go in the winter when.
I did get a law and justice little email from Laura.
Well, the one
Hooper.
in, I think the one in September's,
In the winter.
winter's in Missoula.
Oh, that'll be handy.
I think.
That would be good.
What
need to
is
move
in
them
Missoula?
around.
I don't know.
So Jess, if you get a chance, I know that you got lots of things on your hands, but you should read Dr. Arnie's No Action Alternative Assessment of the Impacts of Forest Fire.
Are you being serious?
Yeah, that was, the $5,000 that we,
Yeah. Is it
Yeah.
actually
it's online.
part
for-
of that grant?
Yeah,
Oh.
that's what he did.
Oh. Oh. I see now what he was
50
doing.
to 60 million a day if you shut down the interstate. I mean, it's, power line, he's got it all.
So it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah,
So this is saying we need to log, reasons for logging, that type of thing.
yep.
And that's good.
So you
Yeah.
will call Willie then?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll do it right now. I'll do it before I leave.
I would second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Check 16,351 through 16,368. Got that?
Yep.
So does the Forest Service pay all of our expenses for law enforcement on the fire?
They're supposed to, if our law enforcement,
Turns in the claims correctly.
Really?
they're supposed to.
That's something. They look like dowdy dogs.
They what?
And I saw, Larry Price and, Alan Amborn and his wife headed one of the finance person last night, so.
Oh, so they are,
Oh, well, I don't, I asked Tom if they were utilizing the search and rescue, and Boone said that nobody answers their calls. So I don't know if, I was gonna call Lori
I hope
Dunn
that they
and
don't
see
utilize
if,
them too much though, Lori, because how much money is in Title III?
Huh?
Well, that's how they're gonna pay them, right?
No,
Well, they get paid from
no,
the Forest
they get
Service.
paid,
They'd get paid
they
from the
get
Forest
paid
Service.
from the
Yeah.
Forest
So
Service.
they won't submit a claim to us.
No,
It has been done before.
no. What they do is they get signed in with the Forest Service, and then they have to fill out a timesheet every single day and turn that in. And then those timesheets are then added up, and then they're
Because if
supposed to
you-
be sat down with the
if you
sheriff
look-
or whoever and say, okay, this is what we have figured out for you guys. Is that right?
If you
And
look
he's
under
supposed to
that-
sign off on it, and
If you look
Get
under
paid.
that, if you look under that Title III stuff, that is something they can. submit.
no, yeah. But
I'm just saying, I would rather see that money go to fuel mitigation than to.
oh yeah, yeah, totally.